Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Yevamos Kuf Yud Daled. We are holding on Kuf Yud Gimel Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom of the Amud. The Gemara begins with a story. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Bisna. So he had some keys which went missing. Ir Kesulei Mafteche. He lost his keys. Which keys? Mafteche de Bei Midrasha. The keys of the Beis Medrash. Where did they go missing? B'Rishus Harabim b'Shabbat. It was on Shabbos in Rishus Harabim. He sees his keys out in the street. How can he retrieve them? Also, l'kamid Rabbi Pedas. So he came to Rabbi Pedas with a shaila. What should I do? Amar he tells him, simple solution. Zil, go ahead. Devar, you should lead to leave Italia. Some boys, some little girls. Let them play in that vicinity. The mashkechi. So then, if they find it, mashkechi if they find those keys, they'll bring them in. There you go. So you have your keys back. Al Savar. So end of story. Says the Gemara. Al Savar. Apparently, he holds. Who? Rabbi Pedas holds. He is of the opinion that katan oichel nevelos. Even if one should observe a katan doing an isser, like eating a nevela, ein bezdin mitzuvan afrisha. There's no chiv for bezdin to separate him. If it's your own son, you have chinuch obligations to educate your son in advance of his adulthood. But a stranger, even bezdin, don't have to look after katanim, even when they're doing an isser. Leima Messiah, perhaps we'll have a riot to this concept from the following brayso, which says layoy mar adam latinik. One should never instruct a teenager to do a malacha, to do an isser. Haveli maftayach, haveli chaysam, bring me the key or the seal from the Rishus Harabim on Shabbos. You can't actually tell him, but ela manichai toileish, you can allow him to rip off some branches of a tree. Manichai zorik, or allow him to toss an item far out into Rishus Harabim. So although he's doing an isser, he's doing a malacha on Shabbos, you have no chiyuv to stop him. Feeding him is asur, as we're going to see later, based on a pasuk. But to watch him passively, that's okay. Amar Abaye. There's no raya from here. There is no raya. When the brayso says toilish, you can watch him break off a branch. And we're speaking that it's out of a flower pot which is not perforated. It's not considered connected to the ground. It's totally detached. In which case, min ha-Torah, there is no isser for detaching a leaf from this plant. And that's why you can allow the cotton to do it. Zoyrek, the brayso says you can let him throw things. Bekarmlis, the rabbanon, speaking that it's not a Rishus Harabim, it's just a forest, etc., which is not considered the Rishus Harabim. It's only an Issa the Rabbanon to carry there. So sure, if he's only involved in Issa the Rabbanon, perhaps here you can let him do things on his own. But if it's an Issa d'Oraisa, perhaps you have to stop him. There's no right from this brayso to our chiddush, the story with the keys in the street. Toshma, here comes a kasha on Rabbi Pedas. You say you can let a kid do what he wants? There is a fire raging and a guy, a fireman, comes running to put out the fire. Very common in cities. You haven't called him, but he's suddenly there. We don't tell him to put out the fire. You can't. You can't instruct a guy to do a malacha for us. Right? It's like he's your shliach. You're not allowed to do that. So kabei, that's asur. Likewise, you don't need to tell him v'al techabe. You don't need to stop him. Don't put it out. It's not your business. Because his shvisa, his resting on Shabbos, is not your business. Let him do what he wants. But a katan, you see a katan coming to put out your fire. You tell him stop. Don't put it out. Because his rest is upon you. Meaning you're obligated to see him, to see to it that he rests on Shabbos. Here you go. One has to stop a katan from doing malacha, from doing isser. That's a kasha on Rabbi Pedas, who allowed Rabbi Yitzchak bar Bisna to retrieve his mafteches from the street by orchestrating, by getting the kids out there and bringing it inside. Rabbi Yehuda, no, here it's different. You know why you cannot allow the katan to put out your fire? We're speaking that his father is standing there and showing consent, expressing approval. Ba'is al das aviv. The child looks up at his father's face and he sees he's fully approving of what he's doing. Perhaps he's not telling him to do it, but he sees that he's making his father happy. So his father, in a sense, is encouraging this Maisa. It's almost like he's sending his son to do it. That's different. Because as we said before, you can't go ahead and instruct the kid to do an Isser. That you can't do. Okay, the Kavasei. Gabi Ovid Kechabim. So, in similar fashion, when the Brisa discusses the guy coming to put out a fire, we'll assume that it's a similar type of case. Do'is al das Yisrael. He is experiencing the Yisrael's consent while he's doing it. Well, that wouldn't be mutter. Mishari, would that be mutter? We're assuming that both cases are of similar circumstance. If the kid doing it al das aviv, so the guy is doing it al das Yisrael. Why is that mutter? You can't have a guy do malacha for you on Shabbos. You can't instruct him. You can't send him to do a malacha. In this case, when you're showing approval, you're encouraging him to do it. No, a guy is different. When a guy does something, he's doing it for his own sake. He has his own personal interest in mind. Rashi says he knows he's going to get paid at the end of the day. He's not doing it for you at all. Tashma. Here comes another raya. A raya to Rabbi Pedas, that in fact you don't have to stop a kid who's doing an Isser. As long as you don't send him and instruct him, he's doing it on his own. It's his own personal business. Ben Chaver. This child is a son of a Chaver. Chaver is a term used for Talmid Chachamim, for those who keep higher standards of kashrus. So this child happens to have a grandfather who is a simple Amaretz. Sharago Leilechet Zelavi Imayel Aretz. He's accustomed to going and visiting his mother's father, who happens to be Amaretz, who does not necessarily keep such high standards of kashrus. Ein Choshishin. We don't have to be concerned. Shama Yachilenu Dvarim She'enim Mesukanim. Perhaps Mr. Grandfather will treat this grandson to food which has not been looked after in terms of the truma, tevel, and all that. You don't have to worry about it. Motzah Paris. Not only that, if you see the child coming on with some fruit from his grandfather, Ein Zakaklai, don't worry about it. Let him eat it. Apparently, we don't have to concern ourselves with an Isser committed by a child. That's a raya to Rabbi Pedas. Rabbi Yehuda, no, here it's different. Here it's different. After all, you don't know that it's Asr. It's not like he's doing a malach on Shabbos. These are fruit which he got from his grandfather, which is considered damai, right? This is what? We're not sure what this is. Did he take off the truma? Did he not? And since most Amei Haaretz would be mafresh teruma, so really it's just a din the Rabbanon, it's a chumra de Rabbanon in fact, and therefore perhaps you don't have to interfere with the child. But otherwise, if you know that he's doing an Isser outright, perhaps you would have to interfere. So who's speaking? It's Rabbi Yehuda, right? Here comes a kasha. Elatam odedmai. So the reason why it's okay is because it's merely demai. Ha vadai. But suppose it would be tevel vadai, certain Isser, ba'al asuri, then the father has to look after his son, make sure he doesn't eat this thing. This is Rabbi Yehuda speaking. When it's a Rabbanon, don't worry, but if it's a Deraisa, you have to get in the way. But a minute ago, Rabbi Yehuda himself just told us, with that story with the child putting out the fire, typically it wouldn't be Asr. It's only Asr because, what did Rabbi Yehuda tell us? Because he's doing it with his father's consent. It's as if his father is encouraging him and sending him to do it. Otherwise, you don't have to worry about your son's Isser. It's a steer within Rabbi Yehuda. Here he says it's okay, here he says it's not. You're right. Rabbi Yehuda is not sure. Rabbi Yehuda, he's not sure regarding this halacha. And therefore, when you ask this way, matchili pushes you away. You ask the other way, matchili pushes you away. We're not sure which way to go. Tashma, here comes another raya. Ben chaver kohen. He's a child of a kohen who's a chaver. Shiragu leilech eitzlavi imoy kohen amaretz. He frequents his grandfather who happens to be an amaretz kohen. Ein choshish, we have no concerns. Shema yachilenu truma tamei. Perhaps his grandfather will feed him truma, which is tamei, which is also to be eaten. Matzah biyadi peres. He sees him holding some fruit. Ein zakakloi. Don't worry about it. Evidently, we're not concerned with a child doing an Isser. But Truma D'Rabbanan, we're speaking that it was only Truma Midrabbanan, so the entire concern is only a D'Rabbanan concern. If it's Tummy, it's only also Midrabbanan. Yeah, in that case, we don't have to interfere with the child. But if it would be an Issa D'Oraisa, perhaps you have to step in and interfere. To Hashmaya comes another Raya. Yoinek Tinaik, he's a baby. He can nurse. Yoinek Tinak Vahich, he can keep on nursing, even from a goita. Interesting that in halacha we find that nursing from a non-Jewish woman is not really asur min haTorah. It's only a midas chasidus, something preferred. There's the well-known Rashi, Medrash, Moshe Rabbeinu, who refused to nurse from the Egyptian women. So it's certainly something commendable. It's not really outright isur, but still the Brisa puts it together with outright isurim. So we allow the child to nurse from the non-Jewish woman, even from a non-kosher animal. Don't be concerned the child is nursing something inappropriate, something asur. Let him do what he does. Leave him alone. Of course, you can't hand him, you can't feed him something which is asur. So we see that difference between the child nursing on his own or you actually feeding him. The former is mutter, the latter is asur. The Brisa continues, Umikulan yoinek mehem vafilu b'Shabbos. Even on Shabbos, the child can nurse in all these various situations. Ubegadol asur. But if he's an adult, then it's asur. So even from a kosher animal, an adult may not draw milk on Shabbos. You know why? Because it's a malacha. It's actually a teilada. Rashi says, if one nurses, is cholev biyadav, he actually draws milk with his hands, chayev mishum mefarik davar mikadulei. That's a malacha. It's mefarik. He's dislodging something from its source, right? And he says, "V'hayonik." If one nurses by way of his mouth, then although it's not a direct malacha, it's a mefarik aydei shinoi. It's an indirect, backhanded way of doing mefarik, which is actually a teilad of dash, threshing, pulling the kernels out of its encasement. So begadol asur. If he's an adult, he can't get involved in nursing or drawing milk. On Yom Tov, we allowed ourselves to draw milk from a behemah Torah. Okay, bottom line is, what pertains to us? At any rate, the Brisa says, you can have the tinaik, this youngster, draw milk, even non-kosher milk. What do you mean? It's asur. It's his business. I don't have to interfere. It's a raya to Rabbi Pedas's concept. Answers the Gemara, no. Hasa mishum sakana. Perhaps the child's in danger, and therefore we allow it. It's pekuach nefesh. Asks the Gemara, if that would be the case, gadol nami, then even a gadol who is in a state of pekuach nefesh, a state of sakana, could do the same thing. Why are you differentiating between katan and gadol? Answers the Gemara, there is a slight difference in concept. Of course, you're right, but gadol boyu umtano. Gadol has to be evaluated. Don't just let him eat isser. Don't just let him do malacha unless he's really in a precarious condition. Well, katan nami leboyu umtano. A child as well. You have to evaluate his condition and see if it's really pertinent. Amar Huner Breda Rishua Stam Tinaik. The assumption is that a child, a baby, is mesuk and eitzel chalav. He's not going to get his milk supply. It endangers his health. You know, the Chazon Ish has a huge chiddush. He says, mother's milk for a baby is vital. It's his lifelong. He says that if the mother knows she cannot properly supply her baby with milk, even during a fast day, she doesn't have to fast. I think he even says Yom Kippur, if she knows that the child will not get his proper supply, milk to an infant, milk to a nursing baby is life. Even though there are all kinds of supplements and alternatives, that's a Chazon Ish shita, and it's mashma like that from Mal Gemara. You can't just feed him formula. Tineg misukun etzel chalav. You never know what it does to a child. You know, the doctors discover that all the types of enzymes and components within the natural mother's milk is so beneficial for the development of the child. and heaven knows how many illnesses and diseases it can prevent. It can insulate and vaccinate that child and keep him healthy for the future. So it's considered sakonas nefashos. So bottom line is, to actually tell the child, instruct him to do an Isser, that's off limits. If you see him doing an Isser d'Rabbanan, that's okay, but Isser d'Oraisa, that's the Chiddush of Rabbi Pedas, which we're still in the middle of discussing. Let's just go back to this brisa regarding nursing and drawing milk. It was our minhag sheyankim mibehema tahira b'yamtiv. We would milk the behema tahira on Yom Tov and on Shabbos. What's the case? If somebody's in danger, even on Shabbos. If there's no danger component, then on Yom Tov it's asr as well, because we know we can't do malachas on Yom Tov, only certain specific malachas starting from lisha, from kneading onward, but this is dash, which is way before lisha, it's asr on Yom Tov. Apparently we're speaking that there's some discomfort and tsar involved. Taisus has two pshatim, Rabbi Tam learns, just a way of saying somebody's famished and needs that milk. It brings from the Ri, that perhaps it's speaking about the animal who's experiencing discomfort, and that's why Chacham say, you know what, we do away with the Issa d'Rabbanan to accommodate a person or the animal in Tsar. Because Savar, and we're working with the concept that Mefarik Kalachayadu, right? That nursing in this manner is called Mefarik. It's part of the Malach of Dash, but it's only in a backhanded, indirect way, right? Because you're doing it by nursing with your mouth. And therefore we mechalik between Shabbos and Yom Tov. Shabbos is skila, gazer rabban. On Shabbos where malachis generate skila, Chachamim say, you know what? Even this would be asur. But Yom Tov, the Isser Lav, Yom Tov, which is merely a Lav, so it's a step lower. Like gazer rabban, Rabbanan say, you know what? Typically it's asur, but in this case, to accommodate the tsar, we allow it. Toshma, here comes a riot to our discussion. Our sugya regarding children doing isurim. Pasuk says, "Lo yisayichlum kisheketz heim." Don't partake in these forbidden creatures. And it's an extra pasuk. This concept has been repeated over and over. So what's the extra pasuk? Lo yisachilim, to tell you, don't feed. Don't feed whom? Lahazer hagdoyle malaktanim. We're instructing the adults. Don't feed your children things which are tamei. My love. Apparently we're speaking to Amar lehu lo yisaychlu. Torah is telling you, turn to those kids and stop them from eating. Loi, that's not the point. Torah is saying, look, don't feed them. Don't manually feed them, but perhaps if you see them doing an Isser, there's no chiyuv to stop them. Tashmaya comes another eye regarding dam. Nobody should have dam. And this is an extra pasuk to tell you that you have to look after the children. Torah is instructing the adults to look after the children, stop them from eating blood. My love, the Amri Luloi Seichlu. Apparently, the Torah is telling you, tell them to stop eating that dam. Loi, no, that's not what the pasuk is speaking about. The Lisfu Lubiyadayim. The Torah is telling you, don't feed them. We don't necessarily have to stop them. Tashma, here comes another right regarding Kayhanim, avoiding Tumah. Emar, the pasuk says, Emar ala Kayhanim b'nei Aaron, ve'omarta aleim, ve'omarta is an extra phrase. Emar ve'omarta la'hazer gedolim alaktanim. The Torah is telling the adults, watch out, watch those kids, make sure they don't become tamei. They're kohanim as well. My love, the Amar lo loisi tamu. Apparently the G'dolim are telling them to stop from becoming tamei. So we see that we are obligated to stop that child. Loi, that's not the case. And rather, the loy litamu lo biyadayim, don't make them tamei directly. Don't be matamei them. But if they're doing it on their own, you don't have to stop them. So we have no raya to our shiloh. So directness is usher, but watching passively on the side would still be the shaila that we had discussed. We have no raya from the pasuk. L'tzrichi. Now, why do we need 3 psukim to be mazir the g'dolim and the ktanim? Shkatzim remasim. You have the dam. We have the kohanim tmeim. All 3 have a chiddush. Di ashminon shkatzim. If only from the first case of the shkatzim, I would say sure. Mishum the yisurim b'mashu. You see the iser achila sheketz is even less than a kazayis. Even a small amount. Rashi says even a lentil worth. Taisus disagrees. He brings rayas that actually, even by the sheretz, it needs to be a kazayis. What then does the Gemara mean? B'mashu, Taisus says a berry. If it's the the creature, if it's a bug in its original form, even if it's a small sized beria, would be also. So this is a chumrah that we find by shkatzim. So perhaps over there, due to its severity, you have to stop the children. Aval dam da the ikar, or some say kazayis, by the dam which isn't as severe, isn't as chomer. It takes much more to be over the isser or revius, or when it's congealed, it used to be kazayis. As it seems to be the shayla and the girsa if we're speaking about liquefied or congealed. In any case, it's certainly a bigger or larger share than the shekets. Emalei, perhaps in that case, there is no din to stop the children, and that's why the pasuk has to tell us by the dam as well. V'yashmin on dam, if only from dam, mishum dika karas, I would say, yeah, that's really severe because it could generate karas. Aval shratzim emalei by shratzim, where it's only a lav, perhaps this halacha doesn't apply. V'yashmin on a tarti, if only from these two cases, and not the tumas koyen, I would say mishum the surah and shava b'koil. These two items are universally surah, applicable to anybody amongst Klal Yisrael. So of course they carry this stipulation as well. Aval tuma, but when it comes to tumas kehanim, which is a specific halacha to kehanim, emalei perhaps this wouldn't apply. That's why we need it. V'yashminon tuma to tuma. V'yashminon tuma kama. If the person would tell us about tuma, I would say, yeah. Kayhanim shani, that's a mitzvah for a kohen. A kohen keeps higher standards. Mishum deriba b'hen mitzvahs yiseres. We find an increase in mitzvahs by kayhanim. They have to conform to higher standards. They have to be role models. They're more chomer than other yidden. Therefore, even the youngsters have to conform. Avalahani. But when it comes to other types of isurim, dam and sheretz, emalei, perhaps we wouldn't apply the halacha tzricha. That's why the Torah has to present all three: shkatzim, dam, and tumas kehanim. Okay, back to our kash. If you witness a katan doing an isser, you have to stop him. Remember, he's not your child. There's no mitzvah chinuch. A stranger's child. Is there a chiyah for us, for bezin, to help ketanim avoid isurim? Tashma, he comes a raya from our Mishnah. You have two brothers, Reuven and Shimon. Echad pikeach, one is healthy. Vechad cherish, one is a deaf mute fellow whose marriage to his wife is merely only midrabanan, right? Nesu and shtei achayis, they're both married to sisters who are both pikchais, both healthy women. So Reuven is a cherish married to a pikachas. His marriage is merely midrabanan. His brother Shimon is a pikeach married to a pikachas. Meis cherish bal pikachas. Reuven, the cherish, passes away. Ma yas a pikeach bal pikachas. So his brother, the pikeach, married to the pikachas, minat Torah. What's he going to do with the Yevamo who is arriving on the scene? Look, his marriage with his wife, Shimon's, is a solidified proper Torah marriage. Now the Yevamo who's arriving on the scene is only a Yevama midrabanan, because after all she was married to Reuven only midrabanan. Shimon's marriage with his wife overrides, and therefore the Yevama is potter. She's a chois isha. She's my wife's sister. Meis pekech bal pekachas. What if Shimon passes away? So his wife is a Yevama min haTorah. Ma yas cherish bal pekachas. Now Reuven, the cherish, is in trouble, because after all his marriage with Rachel, right? His marriage with his wife is only midrabanan. And now he's faced with a Yevamos who's coming to him minat Torah. Moitzias ishte beget. He must issue a get to his wife. His wife Rachel is a sister of the Yevamo who is zakuk to him minat Torah. So Rachel is the achois zekuka. Problem there. He has to get rid of her. Ve'eshes achav asur lo'ilam. And likewise, he can't really address the Yevama. A Leah who comes for Yibum cannot be addressed because Chalitza is not an option. He's a Cherish, he can't do Chalitza. And he can't be Miyabim her because after all, she's his wife's sister. Question. Amai Moitzis ish to beget. What's the issue with Reuven's personal wife? Fact is, he's a Cherish. A Cherish is like a katan in terms of obligations and Yisurim. Teisiv Gabei. Let her stay with him. Katan Oichel Nevelasu. At most, he's like a katan who's doing something wrong. You don't have to stop him. You're right. Perhaps his involvement doesn't concern us. Our concern is her. She's a gdola. He was married to Pikachas, right? That explains why he has to be Megarisha. She can't stay married with him. Toshma, here comes another raya to our question. We have the other case in the Mishnah. Shnei Achan Pikchem. Reuven and Shimon were both healthy. Nusun Shtei Achoyos, married to two sisters, and here it's one-on-one. Achas Pikachas, Vachas Chereshes. So this time the men were healthy, but the women, it's one-on-one. One is a Pikachas, one is a Chereshes. Meis Pikeach Bal Chereshes. Reuven, who had married Rachel the Chereshes, he passed away. Maya se Pikeach Bal Pikachas. What's Shimon, the Pikeach, husband of Pikachas, who's married Ben Ator? What's he going to do with the Yevama, who comes onto the scene? Very simple. She's Potter. She's my wife's sister. Because Rachel was only married to Reuven midrabanan, right? Because she was a Chereshes. So now when she comes and interferes, she doesn't interfere because my marriage to my wife is min haTorah. And that precludes Yibum with her. She's my wife's sister. But the other way around, Meis Pikeach Bal Pikachas. Shimon the Pikeach, husband of Leah the Pikachas, he passes away. Now Leah is a true Yevama min haTorah. Ma Yasa Pikeach Bal Chereshes. What's Reuven the Pikeach, the husband of Rachel, the Chereshes, is going to do? His marriage is milim d'Rabbanan and overshadowed by the Yevama who's coming min haTorah. So it's the same as before. Moitzi is ish to beget. He has to give a get to his wife because she's a sister of the Yevama. The Achois the Kuka was almost like his wife. So it's like his Achois ishtoi. She's asur to him. Ve'eshes achiv b'chalitza. Then he turns to the Yevama, to Leah, gives her chalitza. Because remember, they're both healthy. He's healthy and she's healthy. Chalitza is a full option. Question. Why does Reuven, the Pikeach, have to divorce his wife Rachel the Chereshes? True, there's an issue with Achois Zekuka, but she's a Chereshes. She's not obligated. She's like a Ketana. Teisiv Gabei. Let her stay with him. Because at most it is a Katan Oichel Neveloisu. It's a child doing this. True, he's not the concern. Sorry, she's not the concern. She's a Chereshes. Mishum Misur Didei. We're concerned about him. He's a Pikeach. That's the problem. That's why he has to give a get. Amarava. Here comes the final raya. Tashma. Shnei Achan Echad Cheresh Vechad Pikeach. Reuven and Shimon, one is Cheresh, one is Pikeach. Nusun L'shtei Achois, married to two sisters, Achas Pikachas, Vachas Chereshes, one-on-one. Meis Cheresh Bal Chereshes. Reuven the Cheresh, husband of Chereshes, passes away. His marriage was merely midrabanan. Now his wife Rachel presents as a Yevama to Shimon. Ma Yasa Pikeach Bal Pikachas. What should Shimon the Pikeach, husband of Pikachas, who's married to her ben haTorah, do with Rachel the Yevama midrabanan? Very simple. Send her off. Teitzim Mishmachos Isha. She's the sister of my wife. She's an Arab, potter from you. Meis Pikeach Bal Pikachas. But if Shimon passes away and his wife is a true wife min haTorah, a true Yevama, now she presents to Reuven, that interferes with Reuven's marriage with his wife, which is milim d'Rabbanan. Mayas Cheresh Bal Chereshes. What should he do? He's stuck on all sides. Moitzis ish to beget. He has to divorce his wife. Ve'eshes achav asur la'olam. He can do nothing to Leah the Yevama because he's a Cheresh. Chalitza is not an option. Yibum is not an option either because Leah is a sister of his former wife. Asks the Gemara. But look at this case. Reuven and Rachel are both Chereshin. The Lavi Yisur di Daika, there's no concern about her Isser, she's a Chereshes. Valavi Yisur di Daika, there's no concern about him either, he's a Cheresh. Uktani, what does the Mishnah say? Divorce. Moiti is ish to beget. What's the problem? Amar of Shmaya. I'll explain it to you. In theory, you're right. Reuven the Cheresh can stay married with Rachel the Chereshes, even though she's a sister of his Yevama, because they're both like Tanim. We don't have to interfere with their lives. Rather, there's a Gzera, Mishum HaToras, Yevama L'Shuk. Let's take a look at Rashi, 2 lines from the top. Gzera Mishum HaToras, Yevama L'Shuk. Di Amrina, Teisiv Chereshes Gabi Cheresh. If you allow the Chereshes to stay with the Cheresh, stay married, people will misunderstand what's happening. L'yadi Inshi, people will not realize that Tama Mishum Katan Eichel Nevelasu. They won't realize that the reason why they're staying married is because they're ketanim, they're not obligated, and we just let them do the yisr. They're not going to realize that that's the reason for them staying married. V'savri, rather they'll figure the kedushin di da dochalu. They'll think that this marriage between Reuven and Rachel is a solid marriage, and that kedushin pushes aside the zika of the Yevama. They won't realize that he's being involved with the sister of his Zekuka. They'll think, no, he's doing right. The Yevama is Pater. And what's going to happen? So let them think. Who cares? You know what's going to happen? Now the Yevama will go marry out. They'll think that she's pater from Yibum. Just like any Achos Isha, typically, an Achos Isha is pater from Yibum. They'll confuse this with a regular Achos Isha. And in reality, it's not so. In reality, the Yevama is Asr. La'ilam. La'ilam means, I guess, until the Yavam passes away and then there's no option for Yibum. But until then, she's Asr. Because after all, Reuven and Rachel, the Cheresh and Chereshes, are not married Minat Torah. And Leah, the Yevama, the sister of Rachel, is not really the Achos Isha. So she really can't marry a stranger. She's not pater from Yibum. But if we let them stay married, people will have that misconception. They'll say, oh, this is a marriage, and she's the Achos Isha, and they'll let her marry out. To address that concern, we don't allow it to stay as it is. We tell Reuven to be Megarish Rachel. Now it's clear that his marriage with Rachel is not marriage Minat Torah, and therefore doesn't exempt Leah the Yevama from Yibum or Chalitza. Hadran lo Cheresh. So the bottom line is, what if a katan is doing an Isser? So if you observe the katan doing an Isser, the Rabbanan leave him alone. To actually feed him, encourage him, instruct him to do an Issa Deraisa, that's us, we have psukim for that. What if he's just seen doing an Issa Deraisa? Rabbi says it's okay. We had a whole discussion which we didn't have a clear raya, we didn't really conclude. Hadron Lachirish. And by the way, the Gemara many times throughout Shas brings this halacha and says, well, Lamando Amar, that says that Bezdin doesn't have to look after him. Lamanda Amar, Bezdin has to look. It seems to be a machlekes, perhaps machlekes Tanoim as well. But al Kapanim and Al Gemara, we don't really have a clarity on that. Continues the Mishnah. Okay, we have this parak clear. We'll know how to paskin the halachis of agunas. By the way, aguna means tied down, anchored down. Isha is tied down; she can't remarry. That's the aguna that we're trying to help. We find many kules. We're flexible when it comes to determining whether her husband passed away. If we have good reason to believe so, we allow her to remarry. We don't really need proper edim, etc. And of course, it's based on what? So I'll just refer back to the Perek HaIsha Rabbah. It's based on the concept of Daiko Minsaba, because we know that the Isha will be very careful in investigating the facts properly. You know why? Because she's in for big trouble if it turns out that her account of events are less than true. She loses her husbands, etc. So, relying on that assumption that she'll really verify the facts properly, we go with it and we allow her to remarry. Ha'isha shalcha. A woman went with her husband out of town. There's peace and harmony between this couple. There's no reason to believe that she's looking for a way out. So that's number one. There's peace in the world. It's not a time of tumult. It's not a time of war. In which case, we have no reason to think that she'll just make assumptions and go with the fear. So if these two things are in place, Uba of Amr, she comes back and tells us, unfortunately, my husband passed away. I can tell you for a fact he passed away. Tinase, we take it as a fact. We believe her, she can remarry. Meiz Bali tis Yabim, my husband passed away, I'm due for Yibum, go ahead and have Yibum. But let's say there's harmony between the couple, but it's wartime. Or there is discord and disharmony between this couple. But there's peace in the world. In either one of these cases, we don't trust her account of events. She comes and says, we don't trust her. So if there's issues between the couple, Rashi says, because she dislikes him, she's trying to get a way out. She's going to try to remarry, and maybe even if he comes back, I'll be asr on him. Better that way. So we can't trust her account of events. Likewise, if they're living in harmony, but there's Muhammad in the world, you know what? People assume. They're agitated, they're anxious, and they sometimes assume the worst, even though it has not yet been verified. So we can't really take it as a fact. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, there are three conditions. peace and harmony between the couple, peace out there. And also, we're not going to trust her until she comes to us and presents herself as follows. She's crying, with torn clothing, which really serves to authenticate the story. The Chacham respond, that's not a necessary factor. Whether she dressed properly or boicha, it doesn't matter. That's not really a factor to reckon with. Now the question is, why does the Mishnah start with the Isha who traveled away with her husband, and there's shalom between them, and there's shalom in the world? Why do you have to mention that? Isn't that the default assumption? Stama, we assume. Happily married. Stama, we assume. Everything's okay out there. Why does the Mishnah have to even open with those words? Tana shalom beno lebina. The reason why the Mishnah did mention shalom between the husband and wife, because it was in contrast to the next part of the Mishnah where we're describing a ktata, discord and disharmony. And likewise, Tana, the Mishnah mentioned shalom ba'olam, there's peace in the world. This was in contrast to the next scenario where there is milchama in the world. Okay, Amar Rava, my time with the milchama. Here's the big question: why this difference between peacetime and wartime? What's the difference? The answer is Mishum de Amra b'dedami, because it's very likely that the Isha will just make assumptions. The Savar, Salka Daitach, she's thinking to herself, Salka Daitach, can you really think that, on this battlefield over there, B'chalhani da Iktul, after all these people were killed on the battlefield, who pulled? He is the one that survived? Unlikely. And therefore, she just comes to the conclusion, my husband passed away, and that's what she's coming to tell us, even though it wasn't really investigated properly and verified. Asks the Gemara, but 1 second. There's a counter-argument to this. Imtim Tzelem, perhaps you'll say, well, given the Shalom B'nei B'nei, since they were living in peace and harmony, happily married, why would she just come to conclusions like that? Well, certainly not where she would wait around until she actually sees that he dies. So true, it's wartime. True, it's unlikely that he survived, but she wants to hang on. She doesn't want to lose him. Why would she just come to unconfirmed conclusions and come tell us about it? Answers the Gemara, Zimnan, because it could happen. He was struck by a gira, by an arrow or a reimach, spear, and she figures, okay, he certainly died. And Taisus explains, since it's wartime, it's right in the middle of the battlefield, she's not sticking around. There are missiles and bullets flying everywhere, and as soon as she sees that happen, she assumes that he's dead. But you know what? Sometimes they can perform, emergency battlefield surgery. Samatri, they can use some type of potions, type of medicine, and bring him back to life and revive him. You never know what can happen. Don't give up till last moment. So, true, maybe she's going to watch, but up to a certain point, you never know if she was really there when he died, and therefore you can't really trust her. Okay, so that's the pshat why a time of milchama takes away her ne'emanos, because of assumptions. Sava Rava l'mem. Now Rava figured ra'avain, hunger, a famine, einoi k'milchama. We don't treat it like wartime. There's no reason why she would just make assumptions. She says, my husband died because of the famine. We take it as fact. But the Rava changed his mind due to a personal experience that he had. Yeah, we treat Ra'avain like Milchama. Why? There was this Isha who came to Rava. She tells him, Bali meis barav. I want to inform you about my husband who passed away. Barav. So Rava tried to test her and tricked her. He says, yeah. So he empathized with her. Shaper Avdas, you did well. The Shezvas, you saved nafshech yourself. You saved yourself. You got out just in time. Perhaps you're thinking about who purta. With that little bit, the nafafis of sifted flour, the shafksli that you left for your husband, havachaya, that will be enough for him to live. It's a good thing you got out in time. So he's trying to gauge her reaction. So she fell for it. She acknowledges, yeah. Amrle mar nama yada. You see, Rava, you're yourself also acknowledging the chiyai gavna lo yichaya. He would never. He had no chance of success, no chance to survive under those conditions. The bottom line is, he got her. She left him while he was still alive. So because of this ma'isa, because of the story, Rava retracted and he said, not only is Ra'avain treated the same as Milchama, Ra'avain griyam in Milchama. It's even worse than wartime. You know why? The ilu Milchama, you see, by wartime, if she says, look, I noticed him dying on the battlefield, that's not enough. As we explained before, you never know, he might have been rescued. But Ki Amra Meis Bali bil Milchama. Right, Ki Amra Meis Bali bil Milchama. She comes and says, look, I saw he died during the battle. She's not believed. Ha Meis al Mitasai. Let's say she'll say, I saw him dying. He died on a mita, a natural death, whatever it is. I saw him dying. Mehemna, she's believed. That's by Milchama. So the whole chashash there is perhaps she ran away before he actually died. But if she says, I personally experienced his death, that's ne'eman. If you look at Oven, but when it comes to famine and hunger, that's not enough. Ad amra meisu kvartiv. She's only believed if she actually says, I know that he passed away, I saw him mace, and I was involved in his kfura. You know why? Explains Rashi as follows. The chashash by Milchama is perhaps he got away in time. So until she says, I know I saw him mace, b'mitasai, I can confirm his death, we believe her. But by a rav, when there's famine, shortage of food, as soon as he's hovering, as soon as his situation is precarious enough that it will naturally lead to death, she just makes that assumption. Look, he had no access to food. That's it. Food was depleted. Of course he'll die. So even if she didn't actually see him die, she'll make that assumption. So by Rav, it's nothing until she says, I buried him. What about Pilas? The person who was involved in he was buried underneath a fallen structure. Harayuk Milchama, we treat it like wartime. The Amr b'Dadamik, there as well, she can perhaps be making assumptions that he died, but you never know. People were extricated from mudslides and earthquakes and fallen buildings. After many days, you have to know, you have to have it confirmed. Shiluach Nachashim Bakram, what about if they were attacked by snakes and scorpions? There again, Harayuk Milchama, we treat it as wartime. The Amr b'Dadamik, there as well, a person can assume. It has to be confirmed. What about a dever, a plague? Machlekes. Amrila, some treat it like war. Amrila Harayuk Milchama, some say it's like wartime. That lends to speculation and assumptions. It has to be confirmed. The Amrila, some disagree. Einuk Milchama, we don't treat it as wartime. You know why? Because let's just see the Gemara. Amrila Harayuk Milchama, those that say that it's like wartime, the Amr b'Dadami, because by a plague, people also assume and they speculate. Therefore, it has to be 100% confirmed. What about the other shit that does not treat it as milchama? If she says he dies, we take it as fact. You know why? Because people generally would rely on the common phrase. People say, Shev, Shinin, have a moisna. We had a plague going on for 7 years. V'inish, b'loi shni. And a person ahead of his time, loy azal, did not depart, meaning nobody died young. There was a virus going around, but everybody survived, Baruch Hashem. So just because she hears about a plague, it doesn't necessarily lead to assumptions and speculations. Therefore, if she says he died, could take it as fact. So what we learned today, one may not feed nevela, etc. to a cotton, but it can allow him to do an Issa D'Rabbanan. What about Issa D'Oraisa with Machlekes? Typically, we trust an Isha when she comes and tells us about her husband's passing. If things are going well, there's no reason to believe she's driven and motivated by ulterior interests, such as dislike for her husband, or perhaps external factors which can lead to assumptions and speculations. So wartime is problematic. Famine is even worse. Mapelis, Nachashim Bakravim, we treat it as wartime. It has to be confirmed with an aid, etc. We don't trust the Isha. Regarding the plague, we have a machlekes. B'suras Tevas to all of us and all of Klal Yisrael. Hatzlacha Rabbah.